You can start.
All right. Well, great. Glad to have everybody here this evening, and glad that we're able to get together. We have the privilege of having Jen Winder and Robyn Mons with us here tonight, experts in how to have a healthy mindset. It's not just being healthy, but it's also understanding a little bit about how we're reacting to this idea of being healthy and all of the impacts and inputs and things that affect us, whether it's in our choices in our diet, but it's also in our attitude and in our mental health. And so we are excited to learn. I'm excited to learn, to hear from the two of you. And we're excited that we're going to be able to then put this on our YouTube channel so that others can benefit from it down the road. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. Both Jennifer and Robyn are experts in their field. They're experts in healthy eating, healthy living, and that if you just focus on the healthy living or just on the healthy eating or any of those things, you won't have the whole thing. We are a combination of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and more, and that we have to address all of that. And so I'm excited to have this information that we can help others. And I know the two of you spend a lot of time investing in helping people. And so thank you. Thank you for being here. And I will turn this over to the two of you.
All right, hang on here. Let me see if I can share my screen and if I have all the skills to do this.
Off to a good start, girl.
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, Robyn, why don't you start us off, because it has me admitting people into the meeting. So why don't you just start us and then I'll go from there.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Like Todd said, I'm Robyn Mons, and Jennifer and I have come together to create what we call Hungry for More. And a little bit about us before we teach you some really helpful principles that changed our life. My background is I've been a personal trainer for over 15 years now. And I did a lot of the, nutrition coaching along with the strength coaching. And what I noticed was that people would come and put a ton of effort, and many would get results. I was in transformation gyms, so they would be pretty intense programs for 12 weeks. And they would come and put in the work. Many would get amazing results. And I kept in touch with people, and I would see that within months after they left our program, they had not only gained all their weight back, but sometimes more. And I just really, have been curious about that. And even myself, I was always on this perpetual 10, 12 swing up and down, but because that was my profession, I would do everything I could to keep a handle on it, but I could never feel like it's just something I was able to figure out and be at peace about. So I myself had my own inner turmoil about it. And I just thought, as I saw this and saw that truly less than 1% of the people coming through our programs were maintaining their weight, I thought there's just got to be something we're missing here. And what we're teaching you today is what we believe is the missing gap, the missing link, if you will, in the industry, because we had the experience with it. And by learning these principles, it's been, I think 5 years now since I ended up losing 18 pounds and have maintained that for these past 5 years with these principles. So like Todd said, it's one thing to do the healthy things and to eat, but you have to get your mind and body aligned. And it's not as complicated as you think. In fact, by design, it was meant to be simple. We're the ones who have complicated it. And that's why we have billion-dollar industry now, because we make money off complicating things, don't we? And providing solutions. So that's my story, Jennifer.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And just a lot of people watching this have heard me speak before, but Robyn and I actually met 4 years ago, maybe, and we knew we wanted to team up eventually and do something. And the opposite of Robyn is where she was kind of in the fitness industry, I was in health and wellness. And so I love it. I'm a huge believer in needing supplements. I just believe that our food does not have all the nutrients we need. And that's actually where I met Todd, was because of his amazing supplements that I've used and continue to use and will use until the day I die. And so super excited about this, but same thing as Robyn. What I found is people were losing weight and then they would gain it, and then they would lose it and then they would gain it. And so when we teamed up and we kind of thought we need to share this with the world, and tonight we want to share it with you because it's something that you will be able to use on top of all the amazing things you're already doing for your health. We're not going to sit here and tell you to take away anything tonight. We're going to show you what you've been given and what you already have inside of you that you almost need to reactivate, if you will. And so it's so great because we always use the word synergy, but it works so synergistically with adding the nutrients and adding the exercise. And now we want to show you a tool that you can use starting the second you learn it. You don't even have to go, oh, okay, I'm going to use that and I'm going to start on Monday. Immediately, you'll be able to start it. So, Robyn, anything else we need to say before we move on?
No, I think that's great.
Todd, anything for you? Okay. Let's see if I know how to use this PowerPoint. It's on Drive and I'm used to it actually on PowerPoint. What do I have to click? Nothing's moving.
Enter, no? Or just click on it with your mouse.
No, that let AI companion come up. Oh, there we go. All right. So the one thing we'll tell you is this is leading into it, is we are here to help you take back that authority. You know, last week when Todd had me on and we were talking about our amazing shake, he had asked me a question like, do you need to count your macros? And I wanted to clarify something on that because yes, some people like to do that. And if they like to do that, they can do that. But we want you to take back the authority of when people are like, it's breakfast, you need to eat this, this, and this at this time of day. And then you need to have a snack. And then you need to have a lunch. Like that's somebody else having authority over your body. So hopefully that makes sense. But it's kind of doing what works for you and your body and what your body wants. So I'm going to start us. I just knocked something over in my room. I'm going to start us off with the basics of the 3 hormones that you were born with that help with this. So it's super simple. The very first one is ghrelin. Whoops. I hit too many times. Is ghrelin. And the way that I help people to remember ghrelin is it's the hormone that you have in your body that tells you when you're hungry. So think of a baby. When a baby's hungry, what do? They cry. We don't have a bottle, or we're not feeding a baby constantly because it's like, oh, it's 8 in the morning. It must be time to eat. Oh, it's 10. It's time for a snack. Oh, it's this. They're letting you know when they want to eat. Well, somewhere in the mishap of time, we've gotten in the habit of having these schedules, right? Like I need to eat here, 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 and here. So what we want you to do is to go back and to really say, okay, am I actually hungry? And so that's the ghrelin. It's going to regulate when you eat. And the way I remember it is I say when your stomach is growling, it's the ghrelin. So I don't know why, but that's how I remember it. Okay, leptin is a great one because leptin tells you how much to eat. So you know that there's a lot of programs out there where you're like, I have to measure exactly. I have to measure exactly. Or here's a serving size. And I'm like, but I already ate my 6 and I'm still hungry or whatnot. Leptin is telling you how much you need to eat. So ghrelin tells you when you're hungry. Leptin's like, hey, I'm feeling full right now. So I'm going to stop. And we're going to tell you, Robyn's going to teach you kind of how to activate these and how to listen to them. I'm just filling you in on what they are. And then naturally, if you're listening to your ghrelin and your leptin, you're naturally going to be helping your insulin because your insulin, which is our fat storing hormone, and insulin's a big word right now, right? It's in the news, it's everywhere. Everybody knows what insulin is. But one of the ways that you can regulate insulin is by how often you eat. Now, Top Shelf has a ton of supplements that
Uh-oh.
also, what, did I cut out?
Yeah, I'm frozen.
Oh, you are. I'm not. I'll keep talking.
Okay.
Top Shelf has a bunch of supplements that also support in this. So we're showing you this one in added support. So when you regulate when you're eating, and you're eating when you're hungry, and you're stopping when you're full, you are naturally going to be helping your insulin because you're having those gaps in between the food. So just keep that in mind. And the food you eat, of course, are another thing that regulate your insulin. So, by the way, if you end up having any questions as we're going, just put them in the chat box. So this is kind of the 3 hormones that we are going to be talking about. I'm going to have Robyn, if I can get it on the next thing here. Robyn is going to.
Before you get to the next, before you do that, yeah, get ready to.
Go
can
ahead,
you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Go.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to just pause here with the personal authority, bringing that together. So as a, personal trainer and nutrition coach, these were things that I assigned to my people. I would tell them when to eat. I would tell them how much to eat and how often and what to eat. And this is what we mean about bringing back that personal authority, because we have learned that it's interesting that eating is the most basic act of self-care, right? It's the most basic thing we do every day to survive. And it is something that we've handed over to other people that we call experts to tell us how to do it all. And there's reasons for that. And we don't need to get into all that, but really what you need to know is that your body was created and designed to be able to manage your weight and has all the intelligence contained within it. And we've just learned that we don't. Sometimes people have come to us and they're literally like, I'm scared to eat because I feel like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. And so what we're pointing out here is the science and the intelligence of your body. A baby already was born with that authority. There was no assignment that came home, dictating when to eat. The baby had everything calibrated and in place, and these are the hormones. So we're looking to return back to that. And you see how much simpler it is than some sort of program that you're watching the clock and trying to squeeze this in and trying to rearrange your schedule so you can follow what someone else is telling you. Your body has that intelligence, and now we're bringing that authority back. So I wanted to make that point with that.
And really quick before you move on, this does not mean that you cannot eat a particular way. It just means that if there's a particular way you like to eat, you're not eating until you're hungry and you're stopping when you're full. So just to clarify that. So you can be the authority on that with your own body. All right, let's see if I can get it to move. I'm telling you, anytime I take a pause, there we go.
Okay, so this is where we bring these hormones and the mindset, the science of your body and hormones and the science of mindset, they come together, and this is how we end up regulating these hormones and managing them, which in turn will manage your weight. Okay, so your hormones, that's your body's job. Just like it's your body's job to pump your heart and do all these things that you're just moving around doing, your body's job is to let you know what your needs are. And you have many needs besides just hunger and fullness, right? And we'll get into that with this practice. And that's the important skill for us to learn to differentiate. Okay, so your hormones, that's your body's job on weight management. And then your job,
hang on, sorry, I'm admitting people. Really got to multitask here. Let's see if I can get rid of it. There you go.
Okay. So it's your body's job to manage your weight and let you know your needs. It's your job to listen and to respond to what is being expressed. Okay. And this is how it's done, by these 3 hormones and you engaging with them and being connected to them. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. So here we have ghrelin. It's your body's job to let you know, hey, it's time to fuel up. I need some food. Okay. When you get that cue, and we recommend, so when I first started this, I really didn't even know when I was hungry because I never let myself get to that point. I was on a regimen every 2 hours. I had taught myself how to eat that way. So I was not really cued into these cues. I wasn't really knowledgeable about that. So we recommend, if you feel like you're not sure, the first meal of the day is the best one to get started with that practice, deciding, you know what, I'm going to drop all routines and I'm just going to wait until I feel true hunger coming, true hunger being signaled to me. And then that's when I'll eat. And it'll be interesting to see what you find based on.
Pay attention to that this week, because you may realize you're not necessarily hungry when you go to eat.
Yeah. So hold on here. So now when you get that cue that says, yes, I'm hungry. Okay. So actually, let me pause here. I'm going to teach you what we call the conscious eating practice. Okay. And we're going to use this as we go. So whenever you start.
Is the door closed or they haven't heard?
It's open.
Uh-oh. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And I didn't realize it was that way.
Okay. Okay, so whenever you find yourself heading to get food, we want you to pause. This is what the practice is. Pause and ask, am I hungry? Is this my body asking me for a meal? Is it asking me for fuel? If the answer is yes, well, then the proper response to body hunger is to eat, right? If the answer is no, then something else is being expressed to you, a different need that we're used to maybe throwing food at, but something else is being expressed to you, right? So with ghrelin, when you do the pause and you recognize, no, this is hunger, I'm ready to eat, well, then the answer is to eat, okay? Next, we have leptin. So if the answer is yes, and I'm eating, then be mindful as you eat. Slow things down and stay in tune. We recommend getting off your phones and not watching things or reading things, and really having this time of self-care, which means you're in tune and engaged with yourself. And you're eating and you're slowing things down and you're paying attention and you kind of check in. How's this feeling? Am I satisfied? Am I satiated? When you get the cue that you are, then we stop eating, right? Because that's the body saying, hey, thank you so much. That was delicious. Please stop. That cue is meant to tell you to stop, right? That's the need the body has from you in that moment. So sometimes this can be tricky because we're used to eating because of a calorie count. And so once we've spent our calories, we stop. So we're not taught to listen, right? We're doing the outside authority. Well, the calories are eaten, and so I've got to stop. And have you noticed sometimes you're still hungry even after you've eaten all the calories? Or sometimes you do feel like you're getting full, but you still have more you're supposed to be eating according to your macro count, and you just kind of stuff it in to meet your count. So this is where we've gotten a bit disconnected. So really practicing being mindful and checking in, and am I satisfied? If the answer is yes, then we meet the need of the body and we stop eating. Even when it says, oh, but it's so delicious, this is my favorite, right? I want more. That's when we say, okay, great, I'll save this for later. This is not about how healthy the food is. It's not about anything besides the body said, I'm done. And that's what we honor.
Yeah. And as you are practicing this, just know leptin is, for me, was a lot harder to hear than ghrelin. I knew when I was hungry, but I didn't always know when I was full until I was way too full.
Yeah, and we'll give you we'll give you a little tip here, because we find for most of our clients that's the same. And really the way, if you're paying attention, the way you really figure this out is you're going to have a few times that you do go over and you go, oh, that was, I'm a little over full. And if you just kind of check in and say, like, at what point did I need to stop? You can see like, yeah, it was those last couple bites of the chicken or whatever that I kept going. So you can kind of gauge it that way. This takes practice, right? but it's not a time consuming thing, or it's not some extra thing you're adding to your day. It's all about paying attention right here, being more conscious. Okay, the third one is is insulin. And this is how this is how we regulate it, okay? When you are doing the conscious practice and you're headed to the pantry or to the fridge, and you remember to pause, right? And you're like, okay, is this hunger? And you recognize the answer is actually no. I'm just coming out of habit, or I'm bored, or I'm feeling a little anxious and stressed, so I just want something crunchy. When you recognize this is not the body asking, right? You check in, you're like, am I hungry? And your body's like, sorry, that wasn't me. Then the answer is not to eat. Food is not the answer to whatever's going on, even though you find yourself going towards food. So if you click on that, Jen. Once you recognize that the answer is no, then you ask, okay, then why do I want to eat right now? And what happens is, in real time, you will see what the pattern is in your brain that's been taking you and pushing you to food. You will see, again, I'm bored. For me, most of the pounds I lost truly were just from boredom eating. I didn't realize how much I would just kind of grab and snatch things here and there. And so when I recognized, okay, no, I'm not hungry, this isn't my body asking, then why am I wanting to eat right now? It's like, well, I'm just kind of bored. I want to avoid doing the next task. Then I could see, okay, well, food is not the answer to this. I'm going to just feel a little bored right now, or I'm going to get re-engaged in what I'm doing, or I'm going to give myself a break from what I'm doing. So that question is super important, because it's letting you know what else is going on, what need you have. Sometimes it's for comfort. Sometimes you're truly in an emotion and you are used to eating food to kind of buffer it and give a sense of feeling better, right? And when you can pause and recognize that it's not my body asking, and you say, okay, then why do I want to eat right now? And the answer is something like, I'm just really worried about this and I need some comfort. Then guess what you get to do? You get to meet the need in the most loving way. And giving it food is not the most loving answer to the need for comfort. It's comforting words that you can always provide. Like, you know what? Yeah, let's think about this. I'm going to be okay. Or maybe it's to reach out to someone and talk it through with someone. But always your body, like I said at the beginning, your body is always letting you know what your experience of life is. It's expressing every single need of yours, because it's the body expressing to you. And hunger and fullness are just basic things the body's communicating. It's also telling you lots of other things. I don't feel right about this, or this is just a habit I've adopted and it's causing problems for me. It's having me gain extra weight. It's having me run away from my life and what I need to confront, right? So it's a very loving practice to be able to pause and go, hey, what's going on here? What do I need right now? And when you can hear it, you can truly respond with the most appropriate, loving answer, so that.
Oh, she froze. Let's see if everybody's froze.
I'm still here.
You're still here. It's okay. Her phone's been dropping. Well, I'll let her finish what she was going to say. She'll be back on here in a minute. But while she was talking, we have one more slide. But before we move on, while we're looking at this, I wanted to give you 3 tips that are going to help you with each one of these. So on ghrelin, sometimes people are like, how do I know if I'm really hungry? Here's a real telltale sign. And I've put this to check with a lot of people, and I'm going to challenge you all to try it. If you go to the cupboard, or you go to the refrigerator, or you're somewhere and you open it up and you're like, all I want are the chips. All I want are the fast processed foods. There's a real good chance you're not super hungry, versus when you're like, I am so hungry. Give me the protein, give me the veggies, give me the nutrients. It rings true for me every single time I want to eat. If I'm not craving the stuff that's going to feed my body the best, typically there's something else that I'm needing or wanting. Leptin, if you have a hard time telling when you're full, like I did, or you're often finding that you're getting full really fast, a little tip that I will give you, and this is so hard. Robyn, I'm just giving him a tip for each one of these. This is so hard. On leptin, it's called don't load your fork until the bite in your mouth has gone down. So swallow your food. So often we're chewing food as we're loading the fork and we're just shoveling it in. It will help you know much easier if you're full or not. And then the one thing I want to say about insulin is sometimes when we're feeling hungry and our insulin is maybe it's used to kind of doing this type of a deal, when we have nutrients going in our body, that can actually help a ton with insulin support. So when I'm taking my turmeric and ginger, when I'm using my Sport and Go, when I'm doing all that, it actually helps me with my insulin because my body's getting the nutrients it needs and I don't want to just mindlessly snack on things looking for something. So those are a tip for each one of those hormones that if you apply them, they will help you incredibly with them.
Yeah,
Do you
great.
have anything else you want to say, Robyn, before we move to that last slide?
Yeah, I'd love to wrap this up by showing you how when these two things come together, how this really does start to regulate, especially the insulin. So every single time you eat, okay, that is stimulated, that is generated. So when you are following this practice and you start to understand the difference between your body asking you to eat versus your mind, like I was giving examples, when you start saying no every time to the mind hunger, recognizing that's not even what you need, you are saving yourself from those constant insulin spikes that you used to give yourself by reaching for the food and eating. And and these all build together. When you're ghrelin, when you're listening to ghrelin, your insulin is impacted, right? When you are listening to leptin, your insulin is also impacted. All these come together and work together so that you are not overburdening your body with insulin releases and your body's trying to deliver this, fuel to the cells, and the cells are like, we're full, thanks, go take that somewhere else, and it has to store. So this is how that practice comes together and truly gives space in between your eating. When you recognize it's not your body asking, you're giving it the space for your insulin to not only get a rest, but for your body to use your fat storage for fuel. And all that's done without going hungry and cutting corners and making yourself miserable, right? You're not saying no to your hunger needs. You're saying no to the mental hunger that comes, the emotional and mental hunger that comes, and you're meeting your need with something else. So I wanted to make that connection.
Okay, absolutely. Let's see if I've got the power here to change it. Oh, there you go. So we put up a slide here, Todd, and then if you have any questions or anything, we can go from there. But just showing you kind of what we're working on and what our goal is to help people decondition their brain from literally a lifetime of training, of habits and food. It's learning to, in Mindset 60, we're learning to regulate those hormones using the conscious eating practice we just showed you, which we would love for you to all start applying that right now. And then it's that third component to weight loss. We know the nutrients, we know the exercise. This is what helps to make it sustainable. We both truly believe that it was the missing piece. And so, without even if you divide this screen in half, mindset is so key important before you ever worry about what foods are going in and out of your body. Because if you're just focusing on that and you're not working on the mindset, then we're dieting, right?
You'll be back around to it.
Okay. Any questions you have for us?
I have a few.
Okay.
One of the things that you kind of cracked me up there, because Darcy, I guess, is right again. I have this habit of having the food on my spoon or my fork while I'm frantically chewing and swallowing. And the second I swallow, the next bite's in, right? Because you don't want to ever leave the mouth empty.
True.
So she's like, why don't you just enjoy your food? And you have plenty of time to eat. I'm always in a hurry. So anyway, I liked that a lot. So tell us what to expect more, and that when we sign up for your class, what is can we expect? What are some of the things that we don't have time today to cover that we'll be able to expect in your class?
Oh, goodness. So I'll list it, Robyn. You will come in with everything I forget. So when you come into ours, you will have little video clips that teach you like line upon line, because a lot at once is a lot, but it'll show you the emotion, all the different types of eating, because there's a lot of different types of eating outside of hunger. So we have these little video lessons. We have an app where you can use that to help support you. We have weekly group coaching calls, which are phenomenal because you get to come on face to face with us and be like, hey, this is really the most important part, is you get to come on and say, hey, this is an experience I had this week, and I found myself eating everything in the kitchen. I wasn't even thinking about it. And we can go, okay, let's break this down. Here's what happened, da, 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 da. So you learn these principles in the videos, and then you actually learn how to apply them to life on the coaching calls. Robyn, what else do we have?
Yeah, I think you covered as far as what we have, but really, I'll tell you that those things that she just said, what they do is they decondition the brain. And we talk about this in one of the videos that you've heard of Pavlov's dogs, that they were conditioned to hear that bell ring and know that food was coming. And so they'd start salivating. Well, the other part of that study was to see if we could decondition the brain. And sure enough, through that experiment, we learn that we can also decondition the brain to the point where those bells ring, boredom, stress, mindless eating, right? All those bells that ring that send us to the pantry, send us to go eat. That is the work that these things she just listed, that is what is happening in the program. Is the bell will ring and you're going to stop giving the response. And so it'll get softer and softer and you won't be responding to them, which does change in your brain.
And there's really only a couple reasons. There's a handful of reasons that we eat outside of true body hunger, and we completely break down every single one.
Free.
And the thing about that is once you understand that, you recognize it for what it is. We had somebody new who joined this week, and she's like, I already can't, like, I just know. I know that is, I am conditioned to eat that under these circumstances.
Yep.
I would think another thing is that, the principles that you explained aren't necessarily complicated, like you even said that. However, we've kind of been programmed, differently. And so we're not going to be perfect the first time we try these things, right? And so being able to come together and have a group and get some feedback and some encouragement, because we've got to get to a place where this is habitual, right? Where I normally I'd go eat, wait, stop. It's a stop, look, and listen, right? Before I go have that thing that, is probably just comfort food. Not really because I'm hungry. So I think the course probably helps in that regard as well, because you're going to do well sometimes, you're going to fall sometimes, you're going to say, I didn't hear that cue, right? And so, coming back and getting some additional counsel and advice on things is probably pretty helpful as well, and hearing what others are experiencing.
Yeah, you can relate to it all. And the thing is perfection is not expected. We're looking for like 80-85%. I called Robyn a few weeks ago and I'm like, I don't know what happened, but I just had a dam heat. That obviously is what it sounds like. The dam broke. But we don't expect perfection, but you recognize that, and it does take practice. And honestly, that's why we spend 60+ Plus, for some other people want it a little bit longer, but 60 days on the mindset, because it's a lot of deconditioning. It is absolutely unreal, the things that can be brought up and the emotions. There's a lot of emotions that come with it too. So yeah.
So one other question. This is just a little tip that I learned from the two of you quite a while ago, but it was, for a long time I would call it a cheat meal, right? I'm going to cheat. And you taught me to say, no, that's a choice meal, right? That's a choice snack. That's a choice. So it's owning it a little bit, right? It's not trying to be deceptive against myself or my plan, but saying, no, I own it. I'm going to go ahead and have that right now, and it's part of my choice. And it's empowering, right? Again, taking back the power.
Well, and it's allowing for that, because this is the thing. And a lot of people are like, well, Saturday I'm going to a barbecue. I guess I'm not going to be on my diet. I have no control over what the food is. You can do the conscious eating practice anywhere you go. So if you show up to that barbecue and maybe it's not food you normally eat, it's how am I going to stay in the realm, right? Still can listen to my body and eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full, even if it's not the foods I normally eat, and that's okay. Because Todd, what happens with a cheat meal is when people cheat, and I wish all of your faces were on here so you could nod and tell me, yep. When it's Thursday and you're going into Friday and you're like going out Friday night, you're like, I'm going to eat whatever tonight. I'm having a cheat meal. Let's just call it that, okay? Because that's a really common word. Or I'm going off. All of a sudden, going off Friday night leads into Saturday, leads into Sunday. And it's like, I'm just going to live it up this weekend until I get to Monday morning and we're starting over. We actually have a podcast that is specifically about that. And it's the Monday Club, because everybody's been a part of it. But the thing is when you're using that conscious eating practice, we will never call it a cheat meal again. But if you're out and you're eating food, say you go out and you're having foods and you're enjoying them and you are, whatever, the very next meal, you're going to eat when you're hungry. You're going to stop when you're full. So it's so simple. Robyn, I know you want to add to that. Is she frozen? She's frozen, and I know she would want to say something to that.
So I have one more question, Jen,
Okay.
and then we can probably open it up. I'm sure some other folks have some questions as well. But so this group here are our Top Shelf Nutra family, right? So these are folks that are familiar with the supplements and that. How does this tie together? I mean, some of them might be wondering, okay, we haven't talked a lot about the supplements. How does this fit together? Because
No.
really think these go hand in hand, and I just was wondering if you could address that too.
Yes. So the supplements are a part of my everyday life. Just like I was saying in the beginning, I'm a big believer in that we will not get all the nutrients that we need from our food. I'm sorry, it's just not there. Even you can be eating the healthiest that you can eat and they're still missing stuff. So that's where a lot of our supplements come in. But when it comes to like our Vital Shake, that is a meal replacement. Great. I'm still going to drink the meal replacement. If I want the meal replacement, I'm just going to wait till I'm hungry to do it. And if I drink the shake and I'm still a little hungry, maybe I'll add something else to it. All of the supplements that you have at Top Shelf, Todd, completely support insulin. There's nothing that's going to make your sugar spike and your insulin go crazy. So they can all be added in, and just all of it just supports each other. It's like this perfect combination. You're going to find when you start listening to your body and you're getting these supplements in, it will be life-changing. Like,
It'll make the practice easier.
mhm.
But just make it easier for you.
Yeah. No, like I said, people who find themselves snacking all the time and still lacking and wanting and they're hungry, there are several types of hunger outside of hunger too. One could be you're thirsty. A big one is missing nutrients. And so if you're getting those nutrients, then you've got that covered.
Fantastic. Well, I think this has been some very, very valuable information. I think people have a good idea as to the amazing benefits that they can get from joining the two of you in your courses. I'm just wanting, before we end, to open it up. If anyone wants to unmute, they might have some questions, and I didn't think of their questions, and so we'll let them ask them directly.
And if not, it's okay too, but we're here. You can even get coached.
Well, let me.
I have a question.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know if you can see me. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this information. I appreciate it. I'm Dr. Phillips. I was wondering, do you two ever work with individuals who are on prescription medication in addition to your program? And if so, have the results been magnified as far as the percentage of weight loss, and not just, I don't want to say weight loss in the sense that, that's your only goal, but a lot of people want to be healthier. Obesity is a disease and it's running rampant. So have you noticed that if you work with them, and if so, have you noticed them to have a greater benefit with both those? In addition, of course, in addition to good nutrients, good supplementation.
Are you talking about medication for weight loss or medication for sickness and disease?
Medication for weight loss, specifically.
Yeah, we do work with people who are on medication for weight loss. Robyn, you go for that.
Yeah, we have both, but if we're talking about the one weight loss, our concern, and we're actually very anxious to work with people who are, because what's the plan when they get off, right? It's very important to be doing the mindset work. This is something, because the world has changed so much, and our availability to food and the types of food now that we're eating, there needs to be a conscious shift practice, right? Versus our grandparents and beyond, it did not have to be a conscious practice. We would be out of a job. Like, you just react, the environment took care of it for you, right? And you could just respond. They had their 3 square meals a day. And so with the medication, it's still learning how to listen to those cues. Now, I know sometimes it helps with this, suppression of appetite. That can be a factor, but there's so much mentally to still work on. We've worked with a few people and it has helped them so much. But I also want to say there's others that we work with that, are diabetic and who are on other medications, and it works beautifully with that as well. I'm thinking of one that's actively in our group right now, Jennifer, who she's quite a bit older, and she's had great success losing weight in the program. But here's one of the neat things. It's like, okay, I have to take this medicine and I'm not necessarily hungry, but at the time I have to take this medicine, I do have to eat something with it in order for my body to process it well, right? And people think, oh no, will I be breaking the rules? And this is the beauty of the conscious eating practice. When right now you're on this medicine, what is the need that is being asked of you by your body when you take this medicine? Well, it's asking me to eat some protein with it so that it's not so hard on my stomach, right? Or so my body can metabolize it. So that is a conscious eater. You are meeting the need of your body. Now, we help people make a choice that goes with that well, right? But sometimes that's where we can sabotage ourselves and say, well, I can't do it because I have to take medicine and that's when I'm not hungry. And so then they just check out. So this works really well, no matter the scenario, no matter what medication.
And when it's a medication for weight loss that somebody has chosen to do, then we're just looking at it as another tool to help them lose weight. But in my opinion, mindset is crucial, because unless they're going to be on that medication for the rest of their life, it's going to be like a diet where you lose it and then you get off of it and you gain it back. So.
Well, no, I agree wholeheartedly, because it's more than just one prong effect. And mindset obviously is an important aspect that most people don't consider as something that's along with the behavioral modifications. And so, that's something that I definitely discuss with my patients. So I was also wondering, as far as uh, I know you said about the videos that's available. So most of it is virtual, that you have connections with the patients, and I did have a question about cost. I don't know if you want to, yeah, so that I could have that as an option for some of my patients, or for my patients who want to pursue.
Yeah, so most of it is done online. They have their own personal login. They go log in
Mhm.
and they have access to the entire portal and everything in there. So they can rewatch coaching calls because you learn so much from that. They can rewatch the videos and do all of that. As far as cost goes,
You won't believe it.
you won't believe it. We're just giving it away. It's only $1 a day. And so
Okay.
$30 a month. The ideal is you're in there about 60 days. And so $60, and nothing, you will only gain, you will not lose. There's some people who want to be in the mindset longer. And if they want to be, they have that option. They can stay there.
Yeah, and let me just, so when they are in the program, the videos release one day at a time. So they don't just come in and it's this big buffet of videos, right? So they'll also receive a text every day that lets them know there's a video, and they're short. They're the ones teaching the principles. And then we have the weekly coaching calls where we come together, we integrate the work, and it's also recorded in case they can't make it and they can submit a question. But that's the main part of that, is the course teaching them these principles, and then time with us live, actually talking about what's going on and doing the deconditioning work together. But there is a text.
We get to teach them this stuff that the doctor doesn't have time to teach them in the office.
Yeah, right, for sure.
This is a team effort, so everybody has a vital role. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I can't speak for others, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
fantastic. Now here, as we come to a close, I don't want to end without letting people know how they can get a hold of you. Where can they find the two of you?
So if you want to check out Mindset 60, you can go to www. Make sure you put the www in, because we're having a weird thing with that. Mindset60.com. We also have a Facebook group. And you can come there and we give little tips and little tidbits of information. And that's called Mindset 60 by Hungry for More. And of course, you can always message us on Messenger or find out from you, Todd, how to get a hold of us.
Excellent. And we'll have you put your information in on our messenger chat so people can see that. So
Okay.
thank you so much, Robyn, and also Jen. And Dr. Phillips, you have another question?
The Mindset 60 website, is that 60, or is that actually spelled out?
60. Just like Robyn
Okay.
just typed it in the chat. Yep, 60.
Thank you.
Good clarification. All right. Any last things you have to share with us, Robyn and Jen?
No, I'm just gonna say, pay attention this week and see if when you're eating, you're eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. Really gauge yourself on that, because it's pretty mind-boggling how much less we need to actually eat.
Yeah, yep. I just want to thank you. Sorry about I'm at a different location than my office setup, so I apologize. It popped me up. This is why I have a partner. It's awesome. We back each other up.
And thank you for having us on. We love teaching.
Yes, we do.
And Robyn, every time you froze in a nice pose.
You did. You didn't have a weird face. One time I didn't even know.
That's
well,
awesome.
thank you both. Thank you both very much. And thanks everyone for being with us. This has been very helpful. And Jen, if you don't mind stopping the recording, and we'll go ahead and share this on Facebook.